Hi, Paula. So today we have Paula Plum, a Boston actress, what I like to call a jobbing actress. When we think of the word actress, we often think of film stars. But there are hundreds of thousands of actresses who earn their living very respectfully. They consider themselves successful people. They're just not ultra famous. And so today we have Paula, and she's one of those actresses, and I'm going to ask her what it's like. What's her life like? What's it like being me, as in Paula Plum? Hi, Paula.
Hi, Linda. Well, there's a French expression, petit à petit l'oiseau fait son nid, and it means little by little the bird builds its nest. And it took about 10 years to find a way to be a freelance actor. I would say I started at about the age of 32 trying to do that. And by the time I was 42, I had a number of jobs that allowed me to subsidize my passion for acting. So it's about little by little building the nest every day. Sometimes I'm an actor. I did a Woody Allen film this summer. I did a 2-person show with my husband. I'm a part of the cast of Sheer Madness, which is the longest-running non-musical in the history of the American theater, which has been running for 33 years. I direct shows. I coach privately in my home. I write plays for myself. So it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Petit à petit.
Describe a typical day or a typical week in your life.
A typical week would include maybe going to New York for an audition, which I will be doing next week, and perhaps seeing a show in the evening and taking the Bolt bus back to Boston late at night. Lots of phone calling and scheduling and juggling, lots of emails. I've just recently opened Twitter and Instagram accounts because that is where everyone who is now 12 that demographic will be hiring me in the next 20 years. And rehearsing. I spend at least an hour a day memorizing something. And so that's sort of what my days and weeks are like.
Memorizing. As you know, I'm also an actor, and that's the big question everybody always says, how do you manage to memorize all the lines? And I know that as I've got older, that's become much, much harder. When I was young, in my 20s, I could just glance at the script. I never actually sat down and memorized. Well, what's that like for you now?
Hell. Living hell. They used to say that writing is really easy. You just wait for the drops of blood to drop onto the page. That's sort of what acting is like. I mean, memorizing text is you're just sort of waiting for those lines to finally lodge somewhere in whatever mysterious way they do. My husband and I both record every play that we do, whether we're with each other or not in the play, on CD, and I have a CD sort of driving with me in my car all the time. So I sort of assimilate it that way, but I also do just sit and painfully go through it. It's just a matter of repetition. And that's what it is, repetition.
What's your favorite part of this lifestyle of being a jobbing actor? What's your favorite part?
I think the happiness quotient is really high in the life of an actor because you're in what's called the flow state often, which is when you're on stage, time evaporates and you are completely committed and concentrated to the task at hand without any other distraction other than the work that you're doing.
Do you have a favorite medium?
The theater, although I do love doing film. Being on stage with an audience that's engaged, there's nothing like it.
And you work with Actor Shakespeare Project, which is a company that was actually started and run by actors. How does that feel in terms of your ability to control your life? Because that's something else that I feel with acting. You're often, as an actor, other people are in control. What's it like being part of ASP?
Well, with ASP, it's as much about the project. It's called the Actor Shakespeare Project. It's as much about the project as it is about the acting. So in other words, I've developed projects with them that I go out into the community and execute. But it also means that I'm always guaranteed at least one play a year. This year I'm lucky enough to do Phaedra by Racine, the Ted Hughes translation that Helen Mirren did a few years ago with the National.
Speaking of Helen Mirren, because everybody knows her name, what does it feel like to be an actor, to know that you're successful, And yet the media, sometimes a famous actor will pop out of circulation for a year or 2 years, and all of a sudden they're a big failure, or they're thought of as a has-been. And it seems to me like that it's such an unrealistic expectation of what is success. So what do you consider success, and how do you feel about the way the media presents that?
You know, I think about this frequently, what it must be like to be someone like Angelina Jolie or Jessica Lange. Where is Jessica Lange right now? She's one of my favorite actresses. But I think those people find a way to, you know, sort of existentially make their lives worthwhile. A lot of them do charity work. There's a certain fortune to being not famous, because it's not that I've lowered my expectation of life, but that I'm always able to be in a creative place if I choose to be. And I've got a community of people with whom I can always work. And I think from now until death, frankly, that I'll be able to find some way to, you know, create my soul's expression. And in that way, because I'm at this level and not famous, it's in a way better. I just heard that Tom Hanks yesterday is creating apps for the phone that make your typing on your phone sound like a typewriter. So, you know, we've all got different little ways to be creative. The media thing is just a fantasy.
It's what would you say to somebody young coming out of drama school now, with their head probably full of success means I become rich and famous and I do one movie every year and there's nothing in between?
Well, I think the odds are against that kind of expectation. And as soon as you learn to do your own work, you will be the happiest and really feel successful. And I mean, that means creating your own projects and inspiring others to join you.
So I have 2 questions for you. The first one is, what gets you up in the morning?
Well, I have this propensity to be afraid first thing in the morning. So I'm pretty high anxiety, and I have a lot of energy, and I always feel a little bit overwhelmed. So what gets me up in the morning is, oh my God, I'm already behind. I have to get going. I have so many things to do.
And what keeps you awake at night?
Well, I actually love the nighttime because it's sort of the gift of endless time. So what keeps me awake at night is sort of softening into imagining what the possibilities of my life are, and they continually seem to be endless.
That's great. Thanks very much, Paula.
You're welcome.